This video explains what domain separation is, discusses its benefits and alternative approaches, and provides implementation resources, including recommended practices and a look at the Domain Separation Center. You can skip to any of these topics from the YouTube description for this video. With domain separation, also called multi-tenancy, service providers can onboard customers faster, meet compliance requirements more easily, and better protect customer data. You can control access, processes, and reports, and divide the customer data into logical groupings called domains. For example, you can determine which contractors or support agents can see what customer data. Domain separation is intended for specific use cases. The primary one is for service providers who provide managed services where it's important to separate their customers' data. Another use case is for enterprises, such as holding companies that belong to a conglomerate or a government's various agencies. You can essentially set up an internal model or a private service provider for these entities. That way you offer services to those companies or agencies as their service provider. Service providers need to protect their customer data and meet customer-specific process requirements by separating the content into secure domains. For example, when managing subcontractors and vendors, you may need to limit access to one set of customers, denying access to others. The multi-tenant instance architecture delivers your offerings efficiently and securely to your customers with the help of strong universal process standards, data-driven process design, strict governance, and centralized administration. Domain separation provides multi-tenant support within a single ServiceNow instance. Some global data, processes, reports, and administrative tasks are shared across all domains. What's the best solution for your customers? Domain separation or separate instances? In making this important decision, you should consider the benefits of domain separation as compared to separate instances. Domain separation offers increased service provider employee productivity, increased customer security, more efficient administration, and faster onboarding of customers into services. With domain separation, customer data is logically separated. If physical separation is required, you must use separate instances. The service provider is the administrator. If customers need to be their own administrators, they must use separate instances. Customers consume the provided services. If customers need their own ServiceNow roadmap, they must use separate instances. If some customers outgrow the shared instance and need separate processes and development, you can migrate their content using the Domain Migration tool. When offering managed services, you need to address domain separation as an option from the beginning. You can't just add it in later. Now let's take a look at some resources that will help you implement domain separation on your instance. Here we're viewing the ServiceNow product documentation main page. You can find these resources by clicking View All Products and then Domain Separation for Service Providers. This is the Paris release version. Note that this landing page is under the Platform Security topic. Here you'll find classes on domain separation for service providers. One of the first resources to explore is this page, which explains the levels of application support for domain separation and provides links to additional details about how domain separation works in each application. For example, here's the information you'll find for cloud provisioning and governance. If your application has no support for domain separation, that will be indicated in the support level column of this table. It's a good idea to check out the domain separation recommended practices for service providers. For example, it's important to consider the context, which determines the processes, data, and user interface as the user browses through content in the instance. It's much more efficient to set up your architecture effectively in the first place than to change it later. Here are some tips for making the most of your reference architecture. Here at the bottom of the topic list is the Domain Separation Center. which is a dashboard where you can schedule and configure audits for all the domains stored in your Domain Audit Definition table. This automates a lot of the manual work associated with domain separation. For more information, see our product documentation, knowledge base, or podcast, or ask a question in the ServiceNow community.